Greetings and welcome back to SmartWatch Ticks. We have an unboxing for you today. We've got in another exciting product, and it's a smart bracelet. Now, again, I normally don't do bracelets on a watch program, but well, we've kind of been on a run with these bracelets that also do blood pressure monitoring, and we have another one to show you today. Yeah, we've got an F1 blood pressure oximeter, heart rate monitor, does all that good stuff, and is IP67, which they claim is, you can splash it and use it in sports, but don't get it underwater, which is really like an IP65. So, unfortunately, we're seeing more and more of a gravitation to the misuse of the international protocols for water and dust proofness, okay? 67 usually means you can swim in it, but the fine print says don't. So I'm not going to say this one is waterproof, okay? But they're giving it that rating, which is erroneous. And it's coming to us from our buddies at BangGood. They've given us quite a few of these watches that also do blood pressure monitoring, which is an up-and-coming area of interest in a lot of people, especially aging population that needs to monitor blood pressure regularly. And it's also an area of concern on how accurate these things are. In an upcoming video, which I'm doing a lot of background research on now, we're going to really talk about this whole concept of blood pressure accuracy when it comes to these bands and watches that profess to be able to do that. In the meantime, I'm just going to show you yet another product today. This particular unit has these features. It can collect 24 sets of data with the green light, meaning the diode, you know, that reflects off of your capillaries for blood pressure, heart rate, all that stuff. They're claiming, and all of them are on these units, that the accuracy rate is close to 95% comparing with, you know, professional treatment equipment. It monitors your oxygen when you want, and you can check it automatically every hour and transfer that, I presume, to an associated app. It'll do your sleep monitoring, has 8 languages available on the app now, not on the device itself, and does some message reminder information, including Facebook, Twitter, and so forth. Okay, it's a smart BPHR bracelet, and it uses the app that we've seen before called WearFit. So all of this is very similar to bands before, except it's in a slightly different configuration. So let's take a look at that configuration. Here it is inside the box. We've got the red one. And it's got a special soft material for its case, or its band. Little cover on here. As most of them have, there's one button. This one actually shows it. Some of them you don't actually see that there. It has the diode reading compartment here and a 3-connector place for charging, which no doubt we have the charger inside of here as well in the box. Along with what looks like a little manual. And yes, a bag with the actual charger. Oh, okay. This is that different kind of clip-on thing. We saw that on one other one as well. I remember that. So there's your clip-on connector. Okay. I'm gonna guess that we do it like that. Yeah, that looks pretty solid. And then you plug that into your standard USB charger. Little awkward, definitely a different kind of approach. These are spring buttons. Hopefully the springs will last in there. And obviously with 3 connectors, you're probably not going to transfer data through a computer. So that's just for charging. Okay, what does the manual have to say? Smart BPHR bracelet. We have system hardware and equipment. This is what it comes with and how you prepare it. And there's the QR code for scanning to get the app that you're going to use, but we have it available in the Google Play Store, and we'll be able to get it directly just by looking for WearFit in the Google Play Store. And more information, some Q&A, the overall specifications, and then the same thing in Chinese. All right, we'll charge it up and we'll turn it on. Check it out. So we have some charge in the band, and it's showing an incorrect time because it's just turned on. It'll get its time from the WearFit app once we pair the watch or the band directly to the app. So we want to go in here and disconnect a bracelet and then link a bracelet. Make sure I got the right one. And we're looking at the F1, which is this one here. A lot of other things here on Bluetooth right now. And we should be all set. So it's loading and syncing its baseline data, which should be pretty much empty. When we tap it now, we have the correct time. So it's showing it's basically 10:15. As I cycle through here, you have the different categories, the number of steps you've accumulated, the corresponding distance you've traveled on those steps, and the calories burned based on the data you've put in your profile here, your heart rate, which is going to start the little diode blinking and calculate your heart rate, your blood oxygen, which it's doing on that next one, and then the last one is your blood pressure, your systolic, diastolic measurement of your blood pressure. Then you have your amount of time in sleep that the sleep monitor covers. And this is, what is the time one? I'm not sure. Is that your power off button? And then back to your actual time. So those are the looping functions within here. The magic comes, of course, when you have everything set up in the app itself. Now, in terms of user info, this is where you put in all of your basic information and save it. Decide whether you want it on your left hand or your right hand, and whether you want your information in metric or imperial. And we showed this app before. So if you want a more detailed look of how the app works in comparison with some of the actual collected data, take a look at, in the show notes, I'll try to show you which of the bands connect to this same app, and you can review that, because really it's the information that's in the app that's going to be the important thing of accumulating the data. This is just kind of like a data collection instrument with some readouts that you can look at. The things to think about for going with a band like this compared with the other ones that use the same app are the size and readability of the display. Some of them are smaller or narrower, maybe not as bright, maybe brighter. The convenience of use. Okay, so it's really just looking at the display, looking at the style, and looking at the band itself. Other than that, they're all doing the same rotating functions. When we go into heart rate, let's put this on, and it's pretty easy to put on. You slide it right through here, you tighten it up to where you want, and you snap it in to one of the holes, I think. Yeah, it's a bit tight, but there it is. Okay, so it's doing an on-the-fly heart rate reading for me. And again, it's getting that data by shining those diodes into my arm and monitoring the change in the pulse that's going through the capillaries. So I'm averaging 74, 76. Tap it again, it's going to calculate blood oxygen. Don't know how it's doing that, but you know, it's the similar thing when you put your finger in that little unit your doctor does to get your pulse rate and blood oxygen, or you can actually buy those at the drugstore. It'll calculate your blood oxygen as well. And I presume you can work with your blood oxygen content to monitor aspects of your health, especially if you're exercising, whether you're in the aerobic or anaerobic zones. There we go, we're kicking in. 98% it says. And then the last one is going to give us our blood pressure. Now let me start in on this. Like I said, I'm going to do a really in-depth video soon, but I'm learning more and more as more of these bands come in and more of your user comments come in. And really, I appreciate each and every one of you that leaves a comment under our videos that incorporate heart rate and blood pressure readings to tell us what your experience is. And it's running the gamut. I'm getting folks just jumping up and down saying it's fake, it's fake, it's fake. I'm getting others going, doggone, I was with my doctor. He did it twice, and I'm right on. It was the same as what my doctor's getting. Well, let me suggest this. We don't really know yet. And buyer beware. This may or may not be accurate. And, the cuffs that you put on and pressurize and get the readings on the cuffs, if you do 3 different readings, you're probably going to get 3 different reading results as well. There, it just vibrated, saying it's locked in at 123/81. I'd say that's reasonable for me for right now. I wouldn't say it's totally exact, but I'm not sure. It's an art more than a science, blood pressure really is. One of the things I would recommend to each of you, whether you think it's fake or think it's right on, is to do it properly. And it's the same thing that you run into when you're trying to do this with the cuff kind, or even when a doctor's taking the reading with a stethoscope. You want to make sure, and I'm not doing it correctly now, you want to make sure that your heart and your arm are at the same level. So the best thing is to hold your arm up at chest level. I'm sitting way above this, looking at the camera, looking at the watch, and actually I'm sitting down, so this is level with my bottom. And I'm not probably going to get as accurate a reading as I would if I had it near my heart level. Furthermore, even though I'm talking, I'm moving a little bit. And you're going to get the best reading if it's still, because whatever it's getting off of the wave that you've seen inside the apps that show you the actual heart wave itself and how it's discerning all of the information to calculate what the blood pressure is, all of that stuff works best if it's still. So you're not going to be jogging and measuring your blood pressure, swinging your arms, and expect to get any kind of a reasonable result. There, it just vibrated again. See? Different number, right? Now, if I put a cuff on, it's logical I could get exactly those same numbers wearing a cuff, maybe in a different order. What's interesting is it's not blasting out, coming in at 180 over, 110, and then coming in at 79 over 36, or, ridiculous numbers. The numbers it's showing are reasonable. Yet, it could also be alternative facts. If this is not truly measuring blood pressure and generating numbers based around statistical averages, well, shame on them for doing that, but I have no way to validate whether that quote, fake readings could be happening either. We're going to try to discern that through some tests with actual measuring equipment, the cuffs, things like that, and see how they stack up together and whether or not we can really find out the truth, if there is truth, in blood pressure measurement. But for now, if you're interested in this one or any of them, use it with a grain of salt, and always, there you go, it beeped again, always rely on the medical profession's reading that they give you as your accurate blood pressure. Okay? Okay, so in this, you can set up your user information, whatever you want, your birth date, your height, weight, all of that, and then you can, of course, save that information. You can get your weekly health synopsis after you've worn the device for a long time, and it will calculate all of the data in here and present it to you in a health summary. You can shake to take a photograph, which is kind of bizarre. You press this, and it's going to open up the camera on your phone, and then you can see here you have a little icon, and at this point, I'm off camera going to shake my wrist violently, And there, you see it just suddenly froze and took a picture. That's what that does. It lets you take a selfie with this app, which is, I guess, kind of cool. You can put in a run. Now, this will actually compute or gather the GPS data from your GPS module on your phone. And when you start the run, it's going to bring up a map of your location, and it will calculate your steps and all of those things actually on the phone. You're not using the watch for anything other than feeding the heart rate information, because all the other stuff is done through the phone itself, which is kind of nice. You can actually use this independent. If you're not after the heart rate information, you can use this app by itself without even buying the bracelet. The app is free, and play with the run thing. It's kind of nice. Device management lets you do all the things like setting up the reminders that you want. If you want it to vibrate when you get a call or a text message, the anti-lost reminder if you're separated from your phone, all these other things. In setting up a do not disturb zone of when it's not going to mess with you, so it's not vibrating in the middle of the night, that kind of stuff. The lift wrist to activate the bracelet lets you turn it, and it'll turn the time on. They always don't do that for me. Shucks. Okay, I'm going to turn it off, and then I'm going to turn it on. Then the hourly readings, so it'll automatically take a reading when you're wearing the bracelet every hour and accumulate those results for you. Maybe I shook it too hard. There, finally. It'll come up to the time, and of course you just simply tap to go to any of the measurements that you want. And then you can check for a firmware update to see if there's any. Version 3.0 is the current one. All right, it's not accepting that. Some of these units are tied in through the server system for update. Some of them aren't, and there's so many out on the market now that are tying in with the same app concept. So some will work, some won't for that. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I just gave it a trickle charge to get it going, so we're almost out of power on it. This is where you will actually see your daily reading information, and you can go into any one of these, like here, and I can do a single reading, and it tells you where you want to put the band, a little bit above your wrist itself. You say, I know, and it'll start doing the reading. I guess it should be up here. See, there really is something to the accuracy to make sure that you're actually using the device properly. So having it in the right place, having your arm in the right position is pretty important if you want to have reliable data, as with anything. And that applies to this too. And that's not just the heart rate on this advanced band that does blood pressure as well. It's the heart rate on a basic smartwatch. All of them are coming with heart rate monitors on them. And honestly, the best way to take your heart rate is to stop moving, is to hold it at heart level, and stay still until you get a solid reading. And there you go. I got 75. Now, you can also go into the real-time reading, and I believe it's doing it. There you go. It's starting over again. And it'll calculate and present a real-time reading for you. What it does not do, and it would only take an update to the app, which I would love to see, is to create boundaries so that it could beep the bracelet if you exceeded an upper threshold or went below a lower threshold. That would be an awesome evolution for this app to give you, even if it's not 100% accurate, at least ballpark, if it's bouncing between 135 and 150 and your threshold is somewhere around 135, 140, it would let you know when you're starting to go anaerobic or beyond what your threshold should be for your age and weight and all that stuff. That would be really nice. And I'm hoping that eventually that update will come, and then all of these devices, at least for the heart rate part, could be used in a real training scenario. So it can do real-time heart rate calculation. It does the hourly accumulation. And then you can, of course, do the single reading or real-time reading of your blood pressure. And again, it's telling you that business about keeping it at this location, but I'm suggesting beyond that, you want to A, be still, and B, have it at your heart level if you're going to try to get an accurate blood pressure reading. All right, you have been watching SmartWatch Ticks. This is a review of a rooster. I know. I can't help it. It's spring. We're looking at the F1 blood pressure band coming to us from BangGood, and appreciate your support of our sponsors. If you're interested in this band, check the show notes down below. Got a good coupon for you down there, buying options that you can pick it up. And again, check it out. It for $35, something like that. Hello, nature. It's worth checking out just to get a feel for what these things can do. And if nothing else, you can use it and correlate it with your chosen blood pressure measuring process. See if you can decide for yourself, is this thing worthy of trusting or not? It's individual at this point. We don't have any global reading on it. So take the readings with a grain of salt, but take it in and have your doctor do your blood pressure and check it against the band. Or if you have one of those bands yourself that you put on a cuff that you can check it against. Get an idea of how accurate is it. Is it all over the place, or is it really, like they say, 95% accurate? Be worth checking out. All right, thanks for your subscription. Thank you for watching. And like I said, I will shoot the rooster. No, I won't. I will come back with a more in-depth overview of all of this blood pressure stuff really soon. All right, we'll see you again as my blood pressure rises. Oh, man. Bye.